to try recording this session and start by sharing my screen with you. And we're going to start actually with a bidding problem for you. This is going to be going out as a poll in a moment, but South, your partner, has opened one spade on this hand, and the question for you is, what should North bid? So take a little time, count up your points. And there's a poll going to be launched in a moment, so don't answer verbally. And I'm going to ask you, what would you respond? So most of you have gone straight for 4 no trump, Blackwood presumably. A couple of people bid 4 spades. One person bid 2 no trump, and one went for 2 clubs. The bids that I think are definitely a mistake here are 4 spades and 3 spades, which no one bid. You could go straight to 4 no trump. That's a reasonable choice on this one. Let me just check everything is okay. Yeah. The other bid that some people made was 2 no trump. And those of you who play Jacoby 2 no trump, this is a good hand to use it on, because 2 no trump there is a forcing bid showing support for spades, and it allows you to find out more about your partner's hand. If you don't play Jacoby 2 no trump, another bid you can make with this hand is to bid 2 clubs, which is what I've selected here in this bidding sequence. 2 clubs is a normal bid. It's a forcing bid, bidding a new suit. Normally it will show at least a 4-card suit, but the advantage of bidding 2 clubs is it allows your partner to bid again, and you'll find out a bit more about their hand. Here they bid 2 spades, so that shows a minimum hand, 12 to 15 points, and at least 5 spades. So you end up looking for a slam. You bid 4 no trump, either directly or after another bid. 5 hearts here shows 2 aces, and let's suppose you settle for 6 spades on this hand. The other way of evaluating this hand is using the losing trick count. And if you try using the losing trick count on the North hand, you see you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 losers. Your partner's 2 spade bid should be a minimum hand with 7 losers. And if you add those 2 together, 7 and 5 is 12. So if you take that away from 18, that would suggest you could bid at the 6th level. So 6 spades is where you should end up on this hand. And let's have a look at how it goes, and let's have a look at it from South's point of view. And I'm going to launch another poll in a minute, and it's got 2 questions in it. First question is, I'd like you to count how many top tricks you have between the North and the South hands. And the second question is, how many tricks do you expect to make altogether? Okay, so have a little count about your top tricks here. And then see if you can work out how many tricks you expect to make altogether. Playing in a 6 spade contract, how many tricks do you think you can make altogether? So here comes the second poll with the 2 questions in it. How many top tricks do you have, and how many tricks do you expect to make altogether? For me, we've had a tie for how many top tricks you have. 50% said 11, 50% said 12. And how many tricks do you expect to make? 56% said 12, and 44% said 13. So let's switch back to the hand, and let's count our top tricks. So let's count the spade tricks, and I think you have 5 top spade tricks. You may be concerned that you might lose one, but that's not really possible unless you misplay it, because you have 10 trumps. That means the opponents have got 3. So even if they were divided all in one hand, they would fall when you played the ace, king, queen. So you have 5 top spades, you have 2 top hearts, you have 2 top diamonds, and you have 3 top clubs. Okay, you have 12 tricks. So those of you who said 11, you need to check your counting, or you need to sort of practice this. Would anyone who said 11 like to tell me why they thought it was only 11 and not 12? You have to unmute yourselves if you're willing to speak. But half of you thought there were only 11 tricks there, and there are definitely 12 top tricks. Okay. Obviously, one thing in clubs, you need to be a bit careful to play the ace first, the ace of clubs, win in the shorthand. Then you won't have any trouble taking the king and the queen. But otherwise, you should always have 12 top tricks there. Now, how many tricks do you hope to make altogether? Well, we have 12 top tricks, so we're always going to make 12. And we can make one more by, well, anyone like to unmute themselves and tell me how you can make one more trick there? You'll need to unmute yourselves.
Diamond.
A diamond what?
Take discard.
Discard a diamond. On what?
I mean, trump a diamond.
Trump a diamond. Yes, that's it. Yes, that's simple, isn't it? Just ruff a diamond. And that will lead to 13 top tricks. 13 tricks altogether. Yeah, on this hand, you've got such good trumps. You can draw trumps first, and then you'll ruff a diamond at some point, and you'll make 13 tricks. So that's what you need to keep in your head as to how you're going to make 13 tricks, by roughing a diamond. And you may be worried about the heart situation, because it seems you've got a loser there. But of course, you've got 3 club tricks, the ace, king, queen, and you can discard on the 3rd club. Now, this hand was actually played just before the lockdown, and most people actually played this in 6 spades, but a lot of people did not get a really good score on this. You can see that 6 spades making is just an average score of 13 points. To get a good score, you needed to make an over trick. You need to be in 6 spades making +1, which gives you 18 out of a possible 22 points. And one person bid a grand slam, 7 no trump, which they made, and they got the best score. However, I think 7 no trump is a poor contract. 7 no trump should not really make. Although 7 spades can make, because you gain a trick by roughing, 7 no trump relies on the opponents making a mistake and discarding the wrong thing. So if you were the pair that bid and made 7 no trump, you're sort of pleased with yourself. But really, that was not a good contract to be in, and you risked going down and getting an absolute bottom score in order to be in 7 no trump. And I don't think 7 no trump is a good contract to be in based on the bidding, because although you have all the aces and all the kings, so some of you might have used Blackwood to find out about missing kings. Although you've got all the aces and all the kings, you have no guarantee that you're going to make 13 tricks. And I would stay out of a grand slam unless you're pretty sure you can count 13 tricks. So I think 6 spades is a good contract. And how will it go? Well, let's see. They lead a club, and your life is easiest if you win that one with the ace, winning in the shorthand. And then I'm going to draw trumps. So I play 1 round of trumps. The trumps now have fallen, and now I'm just need to remember I'm going to make my 13th trick by roughing a diamond. So you can play this a variety of ways. If you start with your clubs first, this is the key part coming up now. When you play your king of clubs, you have to discard a heart, because discarding a diamond is no good. Discarding a diamond doesn't gain you any extra tricks. You need to discard the heart, your heart loser. So it's a really good idea to focus on your losers too, and then perhaps you'll realize you need to discard the heart, because you must now you'll be able to at some point get that diamond ruff and make 13 tricks. Okay, so but as I said, about half the people didn't make 13 tricks, but you really needed to make a good score. Any comments or questions on that? So let's have a look at another one. These next ones a bit delayed sometimes. Okay, so let's look at this one where this again was another hand that was played before lockdown, and you open one spade with the south hand, and your partner jumps to 4 spades, and that ends the auction. There are other ways you could bid this, but you end up in 4 spades. The opponents lead the king of hearts, and again we're going to stop to make a plan. And normally in a suit contract, although you can try counting your winners, you may find it more useful to focus on your losers, and that's what I'm going to do here. I want you to look at the losers you have in the south hand, but taking into account all the strength in dummy. So I want you, in a moment there's going to be a poll asking you how many potential losers do you think there are in the south hand, but taking into account all the strength in dummy. Okay, so have a little think about it, look at it one suit at a time, and work out how many potential losers you have in the south hand. And here comes that poll. 95% has gone for 4 losers. One person said there were only 3 losers. And you're all right, 95% of you are right. You have 4 losers on this hand. Now, when this hand was played, which again was before lockdown, this was the traveller on it. And you can see nearly everyone is in 4 spades, but only 2 people made it. So virtually everyone was in 4 spades and lost those 4 tricks. So let's have a look at this again and see if we can do any better on it. So let's suppose they lead the king of hearts. We've counted 4 losers, remember, which were 1 spade, 2 hearts, and a potential club loser. Now we could try to get rid of the club loser by finessing, and that may or may not succeed. But can anyone see another way to avoid a loser here? Do unmute yourselves.
Discard a heart on the diamonds.
Yes, discard a heart on a diamond. And that is a pretty foolproof way, if we can do that, of avoiding a heart loser. So that's what we should do on this hand. So let's win that first trick with the ace. And the mistake you must avoid on this hand is drawing trumps. Because if you try to draw trumps now, the opponents will get in and they will surely take their 2 heart winners before you've got a chance to do anything about it. So this is an example where you must delay drawing trumps and play the diamonds. Okay, so we'll play the diamond, we'll win in the shorthand with the king, cross over to the queen, cash the ace of diamonds, and just keep your fingers crossed that no one can ruff this, and we'll discard a heart. Okay, now we've done that, we've avoided one of those losers, and we can now go back to drawing trumps. So we'll draw trumps. The opponents will get in when they win their ace, and they may try to cash 1 round of hearts, which they can do, but they can't cash another round. Whatever they play here, suppose they play a spade, now we'll just finish drawing trumps, and we can now try the club finesse. We were always going to try the club finesse, but here, as I'm sure you've guessed, it doesn't succeed, so the opponents win the king of clubs, but that's it. We'll make the rest of the tricks, and we'll just make our contract. So, as I said, very few people managed to make, very few people managed to make 4 spades on that one, but it's all about identifying your losers and realizing you can't afford to draw trumps. Any comments or questions on that? Do interrupt me. Let's try another one, and this time we're going to have a look at one involving a transfer bid, where you as South have opened 1 no trump. You've agreed to play transfers with your partner, and they bid 2 hearts, and you bid 2 spades, and that ends the contract. So you're playing in 2 spades, and the opponents lead the king of diamonds, and you're going to make a plan here. And what you're going to do in a suit contract is try and work out your potential losers from the point of view of the hand with the long trump suit. Now, when you're playing transfers, that will normally be dummy, not you. So that's what we're going to do on this hand. I want you to work out how many potential losers you have in the north hand, but taking into account all the strength in the south hand. So take a minute, and I've got the next poll for you, which is how many potential losers do you have here? Okay. Is anyone not clear on how to count their losers? Okay. So I'll launch that next poll. How many potential losers are there in the north hand, but taking into account all the strength in the south hand? So here comes that poll. Quicker. Virtually everyone, 95% have gone for 6, and 1 person went for 5. Well, let's have a look at this. Let me close that, and let's work it out 1 suit at a time. Well, in spades, I hope you agree you've just got 1 loser, the ace. In hearts, you've got 1 loser. You're going to lose again to the ace. However, you've got 2 diamond losers and 2 club losers. So you have 6 losers. So I agree with you. I agree with the vast majority who said there were 6 losers there. So to make 2 spades, we need to eliminate one of those losers. Can anyone see a way to eliminate one or more of those losers? Do unmute yourselves and tell me what you think.
You lose 2 clubs on the hearts once you've got the queen of hearts out, the ace of hearts out.
Yeah, you can eliminate, you can throw, well, at least 1 loser, 1 club loser, or possibly a diamond loser. It depends. But you have the heart suit, which is a source of tricks. And because you've got a doubleton here and 3 cards here, that will provide 1 loser. So that's what you're going to do on this hand. Your goal is to discard at least 1 loser on the hearts. Now, let's suppose you win that first trick with the ace. You have an immediate decision to make about whether to draw trumps or not. And the problem on this hand is that if you try to draw trumps, you let the opponents in, and by the time you've set up your hearts, they may have taken all their winners. So we'll play this 2 different ways, 1 drawing trumps and 1 not drawing trumps. But really what you need to do to make this contract is to delay drawing trumps until you've been able to set up the heart and discard on that. So what you need to do is delay drawing trumps. So we'll start off playing hearts. The opponents might let you win that one, let's say. You need to carry on. And of course, when you're playing here without having drawn trumps, you're running the risk of a ruff, but it really is the right way to play this. So let's suppose they take their second one with the ace. They're unfortunately going to switch back to diamonds, presumably, and the opponent's going to be able to cash 2 diamonds. Let's suppose they now play a club, which you can win, and you still haven't discarded anything on the heart, but finally you're in, and again you can't afford to draw trumps yet because the opponents will come in and cash their club trick. So this is the only way to make this really is to play a heart now and cross your fingers that it doesn't get roughed. And if you're lucky, you'll make that trick. You're not going to make any more tricks now. You're always going to lose one club trick now. But now you can turn your attention to trumps. The opponents will get in at some point. They'll be able to cash a club. You can't do anything about that. But whatever they come back with, you'll be able to draw the last trump and just make your 8 tricks on that one. Okay, so it can just about be made. If you try drawing trumps, let's play this again, but see what happens if you try to draw trumps. Because you need to lose the lead quite a few times, the opponents may take their tricks before you can discard any. So let's suppose they play a diamond, and let's suppose you start by drawing 1 round of trumps. They get in and maybe cash their diamonds. Maybe they switch to a club now, which you can win. And you maybe draw another round of trumps. It's probably a bad idea to draw the 3rd round here, because if you do, you may never get to Dummy's heart. You may never get to South's heart. South's got the king. So you probably need to switch to a heart here, okay, trying to take your trick so you can discard. But unfortunately, East gets in at some point, and will presumably they will cash their 2 remaining clubs, and you can't do anything about it. So you will end up with the 6 losers that you were worried about losing if you draw trumps. So again, on this one, if you draw trumps first, you'll be in trouble, because you've got to lose so many tricks to set up the hearts. And the only chance you have is to set up the hearts first. Do interrupt me if you have any comments or questions on this. I've got one last hand here, and again we're going to start with a poll. Here you opened 1 heart, your partner bid 2 clubs, you now bid your second suit 2 diamonds. They bid 3 hearts, which should show 3-card heart support and something like 10 to 12 points, so you end up in 4 hearts. The opponents lead the king of clubs on this one, and I'm going to launch the last poll of the afternoon, which is going to be how many losers, or how many potential losers, do you think South has? So taking into account all the strength in dummy, how many potential losers do you think South has? So let me launch that in a minute. Let me give you a chance to think about it. Work it out 1 suit at a time. And the majority here have gone for 2, 50%. 35% went for 4, and 15% went for 3. So let's see what we think. Well, like I said, I'm going to do this in 2 stages of counting my losers, and let's do that first. So I've got no spade losers. I've got the ace, king, queen. In hearts, I might lose to the queen. I've got a potential loser there. I've got no club losers because of the ace there. But in the south hand, I have 3 diamond losers. I have 3 diamond losers in the south hand, plus the queen of hearts. So I think the correct answer to my question is 4. You have 4 potential losers. Now, you're now going to look at those losers and see how you can avoid them. You might avoid the heart loser by finessing at some point, but the diamonds, we're going to try and avoid losing those by roughing them, aren't we? We're going to try roughing as many diamonds as possible in dummy. And in fact, if you look carefully on this hand, you can see that there's a potential not just to rough 2 diamonds here, but because we've got that ace, king, queen of spades, if we play that suit, we'll be able to discard a diamond in the north hand and maybe rough all the diamonds. And in fact, this is a hand that's quite suitable for cross-roughing, and that's what we're going to do. Cross-roughing will work well here because we've got good trumps in both hands. We've got all the high trumps apart from the queen, and that's probably the best thing we're going to try and do. In other words, we'll end up roughing 3 diamonds in the north hand, and this is a hand where we're going to cross-ruff rather than drawing trumps. We're probably never going to draw trumps, and this is a perfect hand for cross-ruffing. So what we're going to do is win that ace of clubs, of course, and you can do this a variety of ways, but because we're planning not to draw trumps at all here and just cross-ruff the hand, you could actually start by ruffing a club here and then playing on the spades. We're going to play 3 rounds of spades, the king winning the shorthand first, cross over to the ace, play your queen, and now we can discard on that. We can discard, of course, a diamond loser. Okay, now we don't need to lose a diamond at all because we're going to play the diamonds and start by ruffing low, of course. Then we play a club back, which we ruff with the 8. And if we get away with that, then all our trumps are now high except for the missing queen, and we can just continue cross-ruffing. We'll just bring up the 4 hands at this stage. We'll end up ruffing a diamond, ruffing a club, ruffing a diamond, and even in the when we play the last club, if we're lucky, we might even avoid losing to the queen. We can ruff that one and then draw the last trump. So it's possible to make 12 or 13 tricks depending on how things go. But again, the key to this hand was discarding on the spade. You discard a diamond, and that sets up everything nicely for a cross ruff. Anyone have any comments or questions on any of that? Do unmute yourselves if you have anything you'd like to share. Try and remember to try and maybe practice. Those of you who got some of the answers wrong in terms of how many tricks or how many losers, I think it's something you can do on every hand to try to practice counting your winners or counting your losers, and that will often lead you to the best line. We'll end the talk in a moment there. Does anyone have